So that's part of the problem, about 20 million a year, a little less than 20 million. So you take that out, we've had 33 million per year on average for the last 10 years. I think we all know it didn't go to roads. Now what Chuck does, when we get the money back from the state, he brings it into the general fund and he doles it out all over the place, spends it on everything but roads. And if you got that Alcoholics Anonymous is what I call it, that brochure that says roads to recovery. Look at the chart. You can see where it's going. It's not going to roads. And when I looked at that, I just go, well, Chuck, you're putting it out there. You're not spending the money on roads. I think he had about 13 million that they go and shovel into potholes. And, you know, as long as we're not spending that money where when every time you buy a gallon of gas or you're ready to re-register your car, you're paying taxes that come back to the county, and you're expecting those monies to get spent where they were meant to be spent. And I did work with Michelle Reagan on a bill, and she got the language tightened up that it had to be spent on roads. The problem is we don't have any enforcement teeth. So they're continuing to spend money elsewhere. 33 million a year, we would have done an awful lot with the roads, and I was talking about the fact that when it comes back, it comes into the general fund. So then they all howl, we're giving money out of the general fund for the unincorporated area. It's not fair. That argument does not hold water with me, and it isn't the general fund's money, it's money coming back that you've paid out in taxes in addition to your property taxes. I'm tired of the excuses, I'm tired of the games, so that's another reason we've got to get change on that board. Public safety, the law enforcement, sheriff's department, I've heard a lot from them. They have not gotten their step increases that they were promised when they were hired. They got a brochure, I've seen it, and it was handed to them when they were hired that they would get these increases in salary. It doesn't have anything to do with merit increases, but they started at very low wage. They haven't gotten those for 8 years. So they're not real happy, and I'm not sure what's going to happen there. Again, this is the roads I've already talked about that. Some of the money's $6 million a year in that brochure. Go look, 6.1 I think it is, goes to buses. Shouldn't be going to buses, it should be going to roads. 13 million is the money they shovel off the back of the truck to do potholes. And the quality of the repairs, I had a gentleman come in and talk to me about the new technologies they have for pavement preservation. He said that lasts a lot longer, it's a lot cheaper, but you've got to use the pavers that have invested in the equipment. And in Pima County, you got about 5 of them. You wonder why your roads are torn up for months on end. You've got about 5 that they do business. They onesie, twosie, and they tear up the roads. They don't have the capacity to do the work. Don't you think that would be a good thing to look at? Do you have the capacity to finish this? Give them a schedule. And if you don't, you're not going to get another contract. And if you don't come in, if you don't do the quality work, you're going to get dinged. And you're not going to, when you go to bid again, we're going to know about it, and we're going to track that. We had a situation up in the Northwest, I don't know if you heard about it, where there was a big dust up, and we're still going through the motions where they didn't do the road. They started the work, they got the money, and nothing happened. So it was on McGee Road up in Tucson, and there's still legal wranglings going on over that. It's simple. When I went and Googled the company name on the court, Superior Court, oh my God, there were about 40 records, and I went, did anybody look at this stuff? I mean, they had to know. There were lawsuits from the subcontractors that worked with them because they weren't paying the subs, on and on. But, you know, there's a lot of things that we could do differently, make sure our contracts are written correctly. And the most obscene thing, the Department of Transportation director came into the board, and she said, this year in 2016, we're expecting an 8% increase in that curve. So you add 8% to the 53 million. It's about 4.2 million more. So we're up about 57, 58. And she said, you know, we're expecting that. The state is not doing any sweeps. Okay, the state had been doing some minor sweeps, 2 to 3 million, depending on the year. But you hear from Chuck, it sounds like they've taken all our money for years. So without any sweeps, and then she made the statement, $0 are allocated for road repairs since 2016. Why? Because they can get away with it. That is obscene. And that video is available on my website, so go check it out. I'm not making this up. What we need to be looking at is what are the successful municipalities doing? Marana's been very successful. They're still bogged down with Pima County property taxes. But they have a strategic plan that they use to guide every single decision they make, and it's communicated and everybody knows it. And they've been doing that for years. They're very friendly to businesses. When a business comes in, look what just happened with that premium outlets. They started building it in January. They broke ground, and it's up and running. And those people, I spoke to the developers, premium outlets, and the developers when they came in on the grand opening, and they said they've never dealt with a better municipality that walked them through. They were on site. They had inspectors on site, people on site, making sure you got something done today, we're right there to inspect it. That's how they were able to accomplish that. And why aren't we doing the same? You know, and encouraging business to come into Pima County. You know, we got roads and infrastructure. We got to focus on the core services. Wastewater, Marana did buy their, and guess what? Marana gets HERF money back. All municipalities get HERF monies back. They get a little higher percentage than unincorporated. And they got theirs. Their monies were swept. Across the board they were. But guess what? They made it a priority because they kind of think roads are important. And so do I. And that's why they're getting businesses moving into their area, because they go, this is a beautiful community, the roads are great, everybody's kind of happy out there. Ed Honey's out there whenever they have a groundbreaking. And the interesting thing, Tucson Premium Outlets, huge opening, right? No one showed up from Pima County except me to meet the developers. And how important is that? It's in Pima County because Marana bucked the system. Ed Honey went against the bond, the mayor out there. I worked with Ed. He was against the bond, and when things don't make sense, he says it. And because of that, they've been punished, and they end up in, I don't know if you remember, a lawsuit over the wastewater. Even though they paid property taxes for years and paid their wastewater bills, they still had to pay bond for $18 million to buy that wastewater plant, that they're now in control of their own destiny. So, you know, it's that kind of thing, and I believe in incorporating. I think it's really important if people are interested in do it. It will help take the power base away from Pima County. And Maricopa County, why did they recover versus Pima? You know, why are they booming up there and we're really struggling? I think it's the environment. They invested in sustainable development. They're not building special interests like we are at the Abrams building, letting a company stay in there and run down there while another company can't compete with them because they're not paying property taxes. And as I said, everyone suffered through the downturn in the HERF sweeps. We've got to turn this county around. It's a beautiful place and we can do it. And then, as we talked about earlier, we have an opportunity for change in 2016. We have 3 candidates committed to not renewing Chuck Huckleberry's salary or contract, so we can do a nationwide search and get a good county administrator that isn't diverting your money, that's going to make sure the money's where they're supposed to be, and also make sure that we're making the right policy decisions and making sure that the Board of Supervisors is up there making the policy decisions, not Chuck Huckleberry, because that is what the problem is. Chuck Huckleberry's been making the policy decisions because this board has allowed him to usurp their power. And I don't do that. I mean, it's a war down there when it's 4-1, but I do not allow that. And it's something that we have to stop as a community, and I think you've proven that you can stand up and take this on. We've got 20 years, they have a track record, 20 years of increasing poverty. You've been here, you've watched it. Failed economic policies, no businesses coming in, that's a pretty good indicator. Crony capitalism is destroying Pima County. If you're a preferred consultant, you come in with your project, it gets approved. If you're not, the Alberto Moore example is 24-house subdivision. A certain individual on the board didn't like it because he worked against him on his campaign. No one should hold a grudge over people taking a side on a campaign. It's the world, it's the way it is. And so his subdivision was stopped. Another individual that comes in and everybody is in the tank with him, he gets his projects passed with flying, without any question. Crumbling roads and infrastructure, the solutions are always the same in Pima County. I think you've heard it. You saw it when you got your tax bill. It's the state's fault. We need more money. We never take responsibility. We got to take responsibility, tighten our belt, cut the spending, prioritize the spending, instead of pointing the finger and saying it's the state's fault or whatever. More taxes and more debt is always what you hear. We need bonds, we need more taxes. You're gonna hear a gas tax. I'm fighting against that at the state level. They now want to get a sales tax, be able to pass a sales tax with a board majority, or excuse me, super majority, which would make 4 board members. The law right now says it has to be unanimous, and they know I won't vote for a sales tax for them because I know what they're going to do with the money, and they're not going to spend it appropriately. Why would I vote to give them more money until they start spending it appropriately? We got to show, we've got to prove to you before we ask for any more that we're going to do the right thing with your money. It's not our money, it's yours. And this is, talk to your neighbors and friends, volunteer. If you can make a phone call or if you can talk to one neighbor, I know a lot of people aren't able to get out and do a lot, but one little thing, that's how we stop these bonds. 30-1 we were outspent. We stopped it by everybody. I can put in a sign. My husband put in signs. I can donate a few bucks. I can go do some town halls. Joe Bogar just nonstop taking on Larry Hecker, Jimmy Crawford, every step of the way. She was there every step of the way, and everybody should thank her. She worked extremely hard. Up at night, 10 o'clock at night, we'd be on the phone talking about things. I mean, Jimmy was so dedicated on this, and I tell everybody, every town hall I go to, whether you agree with her or not, she struggled and worked so hard to get information out to you. And she worked really hard on that, and I know what it's like to run a campaign, and I know she was just dragging because she was in that same boat as the rest of us were that were trying to fight it, and led the charge. So we got to thank her. Email list, please sign up for my emails. I have some cards back there if you want to get in touch with me. I need your help, I need your support, I need your vote. I have donation envelopes back there. I'm not bashful about asking for money anymore. Last time I ended up being the biggest donor of my campaign, but we need money. And it is hard to raise money, as you know, in a presidential election year. Everybody's running, and I understand, but your local government is, in my opinion, the most important place to focus, because if you look at what the Democrats do, they're focused on local because they recognize that's where you get the power and you build up the power. Now we need to focus on the top too, but we don't have the billions of dollars to affect so much change there, but we can do some grassroots. But we have to really focus on local, and it's totally neglected. I'm trying to think how many undervotes there are in the Pima County Board of Supervisors races. Thousands. People get voter fatigue and they just don't vote for a supervisor. Wow. And in my district it was huge, and I think it wasn't so bad down here, but in District 1, the ballots are huge when you get president, state legislature, all of these propositions. It's like, oh my God, I don't even know who to vote for. So we need to get the word on it, who the candidates are and who they need to vote for. Talk to your neighbors, friends. And, I'll take any questions you have, if you have any, about the county, about, yes.
Do you have lights and sirens in your car?
Yes, so I can, Sharon Bronson did say when they interviewed her about her county car, I think 45% of her use on her car came up personal. But she said, we're on call 24/7. Yes. Give me a break. None of us are on call 24/7. I mean, we work doing town halls and stuff in the evening and on the weekend, but 24/7, come on. Sharon Bronson's not on call 24/7, none of us are. And we shouldn't be on an undercover car that you can't tell who we are. And the reason for those undercover cars, in my opinion, is so you don't know we're out there driving around running to, wherever we're going for personal stuff. So, yeah. I would like to get siren on my car, but I can't.
Question on Ray Carroll. You've opened up my eyes quite a bit. I think he's got the people's eyes here in Green Valley.